and welcome to this Flash Friday Finance Update. I'm just back and I was having a chat with my wonderful client, Leanne Peterson here. And Leanne is a town planner from New South Wales, and she does a lot of work in New South Wales and Queensland. She's a consultant who is freely available to help the right people, of course, who are doing interesting things. And we were talking about her view on the market and what's happening. And I thought she needs to tell you guys what's going on because she has lots of interesting and valuable things to say. So welcome, Leanne, to this week's Flash Friday Finance Update. How are you?
Good morning, Louise. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
That's wonderful. As an aside, I just noted that the Victorian government have added another charge for investors, which they think they're so cute. They pop in another $1,000 for investors to pay to the Victorian government when they think, oh, they'll just get a tax deduction, but you've still got to pay and on your federal taxes. So it swings and roundabouts, but it's not quite, because I don't know how many more investors need more tax deductions. The problem is they're not getting the income for the massive increase in rates, the interest rates that we've had. So it's making it much harder. What's your view, Leanne?
Oh, look, it is getting harder. Interest rates, rising council rates, rising insurances,
Oh, yeah.
all these things are going crazy. And then on the one hand, the government's talking about stopping negative gearing, bringing in more stamp duty implications, all of these things. And yet they're screaming and setting up whole task force about affordable housing. It doesn't make sense that
Yeah.
they want to keep doing these things with investors. It is very hard, and it's not getting any easier with all these things that are the cost of running a property are going up and up. And they're saying rents are high. Yes, rents are high, but when you look at that in relation to all the outgoings of an investment property, a lot of people are barely able to hang on to them. And I do know a few that have had to sell actually.
And you're exactly right. It's a government manufactured type thing. It's easy to blame investors, but the truth is, people are actually better off if they can't afford to keep renting at the moment, because rents are still cheaper than owning a home. There's times in life when the rents become too high, and then you're better off getting a mortgage, but that is not one now. So there it is. But anyway, tell us
Exactly.
about your view of the market in New South Wales and Queensland. You're doing quite a bit of work up that way. Tell us what's going on, because I'm really interested to let people know that the market and property still seems to be booming.
It is. I'm based in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales, and things around here are still going well. People say, oh, the market slowed. In reality, it's just gone back to a normal market. The craziness that we had post COVID has ended, but we've just gone back to a normal market now. And in fact, there are a lot of indicators there that property will actually rise by the end of the year. There's not a lot of construction happening in the new build sector. So things have gone a little bit quiet there. And I think that's a number of things, but interest rates probably one of them. But for investors, that is fantastic. And for renovators, that is amazing because trades are more available. Builders are more available and their costs will become more competitive. And hopefully, with building prices and the craziness that was around building prices in the last 2 years starting to come back to normal, as probably not how they were, but better than before,
Right.
because building materials are a bit more readily available than what they were post COVID.
Yeah.
With all of those things, and now that interest rates have stabilized, all the indicators that I'm looking at are saying that the market is going to stay strong and, in fact, probably go a little bit higher by the end of the year. So I
And
think it's a great time to be buying.
oh, good. And the other thing you said, do your due diligence and get your prices on your trades, make them more competitive, because there's probably people out there who now need the work.
I would definitely say that's a great thing to do. Yeah, that I know just around the Hunter, The trades are, they're not sitting around twiddling their thumbs by any means, but there's just not that craziness and people putting their prices up by 20-30% because they don't really need the work.
Back to a more
It's
reasonable time.
Yes, and as far as Queensland goes, I've been doing some work up in far north Queensland at the moment, actually up in Cairns. And it's, even though the builders are busy there, they've come off the back of all those first home buyer schemes that were really crazy around 2020, 2021. That's all finished now. So those builds are completed and the builders now have more capacity to do stuff. But the market up there is still going really strong. In fact, it's probably still firing compared to a lot of New South Wales. Yeah, it's going still going really well.
Oh, I was talking to John Lindemann, and he believes that New South Wales is the one that's going to really boom when all the migrants get going and whatever. But Victoria also, there's a report out from Charter Kramer who have been talking about apartment markets and units and saying they're absolutely as tight as, and Victoria, all of them can be expecting these, certainly the East Coast can expect a great increase over the next, they cannot see how it cannot happen. So that was very strong from them, which is interesting. If anyone wants a copy of that, just email me and I'll happily share it. But thank you for your insights. Is there any tips you've got for other investors? What things are the best at the moment? Are you seeing better value in certainly renovated properties that people could pick up and maybe make some money on? What's your view?
Oh, most definitely. I see them every day and I want to buy all of them because there are so many good ones out there. And because the market is predicted to go, as you say, I think if people were to get in now and have that renovation done in 6 months' time, they'd be in a nice position. Same with the small developments. I deal with a lot of small developments, and there's still the opportunity for that infill. So even though there may not be a lot of new urban release stuff happening, there
Yes.
is still a lot of infill. And when you look at the councils and state government, they are pushing, because of the affordable housing crisis, that infill. So they, in most areas, want to see higher density, especially when there's infrastructure, transport, shopping facilities nearby. I think it's a great idea if you wanted to do something like a little dual occupancy or even a granny flat. It's good time to do that. And because you haven't got the competition when you're buying like you did a year or 2 years ago, where you had to be making an offer right there and then and didn't have time to do any due diligence. That's not the case right now. So being back to a normal market, it does give you a bit more time to get in there and make sure that's the right property that you're buying.
Oh, great. And what tips have you got for people looking for these infill properties? What should they be going for? Like you said, next to transport, education, shops, all the lead things that help a property grow. What else have you got in terms of a site? Because you're the town planner, you tell us.
Yeah. So aside from the actual location, you need to look at the size of the block, the zoning of the block. Very importantly, whether it actually falls to the street or falls to the rear, because it's far easier to develop a block of land that falls to the street, because if it doesn't, you'll have stormwater issues and have to get easements and all sorts of things, and it may not even be possible. They're the main things. And so the zoning, the lot size, the width of the frontage, what is existing on the site and whereabouts that's located, what services are available. But if anyone's looking for a small site like that, I actually offer a service where I am happy to find a site for people who are time poor. They can
Oh,
come to me and yeah, I'll help them find the right site.
oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. Fantastic. Oh, I'm sure there's someone out there. So we will put your details in the notes of the show. But thank you so much. So, any final tips for investors?
Look, I think if you're sitting on the fence thinking things might drop further, I wouldn't be hanging there. I'd be jumping in now because I think there's good opportunity for growth. When you look at the immigration coming in, the really low vacancy rates over there, housing is just at a scarcity. And just looking at supply and demand alone, all the indicators besides supply and demand are also there. Everything is showing that prices are going to increase. So I would get off the fence and get in there and start taking some action now.
Great advice. And let's see what happens in the next 12 months and we'll reconnect and do this again.
Yes.
Thank
Let's
you
look
so
back.
much. Yeah, let's check how things went. It's going to be interesting. I'm really excited.
Mm,
It actually is rare that we're all so positive, but people are really positive about property at the moment. So,
mm.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
really,
looking good.
yeah, it is too. Thank you so much for your insights and your time. And we love talking with you, Leanne. Thank you very much. And people will let you know where to contact her. So, thank you very much. See you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much, Louise. You too.